Hello and welcome to my channel where the dragons gather. Today I am going to be showing you the mermaid bar I have created in Sulani in The Sims 4. I've used this lot here, the Admiral's Wreckage, to recreate the bar. As you can see from the overworld view, it actually looks quite green, but if I go into the site, there's actually a lot of sand around this particular lot. It did take me a while to get the landscaping just right. With builds like this one, I like to try and storytell for myself. So, imagine that you are on a ship. The sky is purple black from a storm, and the ship is rocking backwards and forwards over the rough waves. The sky is split open by white lightning and thunder so loud that it leaves your ears ringing. You are constantly being slapped in the face with the cold brine of the sea as it laps over the bows, and the captain is wrestling with the helm, trying desperately to keep the ship off the rocks. Unfortunately, despite his best efforts, the ship runs aground. Fortunately, all the crew are unharmed and are eventually saved. They take what little cargo they can and leave the rest behind. The ship is unsalvageable, so it too is also left behind. Over time, it becomes a local curiosity, and eventually it becomes a site of historic interest. Visitors flock to the site to visit the wreckage and view the inner sides that the original sailors turned into a place of shelter while they awaited rescue. A local artist is asked to provide statues of the local wildlife, and a sign is erected at the front of the site using the ship's old anchor. Eventually, the inside becomes dangerous, and so no one is allowed to enter, but you can still walk around the outside. At least that's what the humans think. So that brings us to this site. So I'm just going to walk you around the outside of the site first. As I say, have this anchor. We'll start with the anchor at the front of the site. I actually found this in debug and it actually came like this. So this is not something I've done. I haven't put the anchor on top of something else. This is actually how it all came. It was just too perfect. It looked too good, too official. I had to use it. I also found this little guy in the toys section and he was just too cute. I had to use him as like the mascot for the site. So yeah, they got their own sort of merchandise that they sell to maintain the site. I then installed this whale statue here, which can also be found in debug. As you can see, I've tried to use the terrain tool to create the shadow of the whale beneath the water, or beneath the sand in this instance, in the same way it would be with water. And it also helped me get an idea of how far apart I wanted the head from the tail. We also have these rock pools. These were created using the custom pool tool. Your Sims can enter these because this stuff is mostly debug. Again, the good part about debug is the fact that your Sims will just ignore it and walk straight through it. You also have this one over here. And yep, I should know, Jeffrey Land Crab. It's kind of demonstrating this is also debug, and your Sim can enter this pool too. And this archway is actually debug too. Over here we have another pool your Sim can enter. You can enter this one as well, but only to play in the water. And this one you can't get in at all. You will notice there's a glow. These were little orbs I found in debug for Realm of Magic. I just thought they added an extra eerie level effect to the site, so that's why I've put them in. And over here we have the stop sign and some rocks that they've put in place to stop Sims from getting in, or to deter them from getting in. Obviously, I don't think that'd be much of a deterrent because you can clearly climb over it. And as make believe you could climb over it, in reality, your Sims will just walk through it. I tried to create a sandbank to give the impression that this ship had created this as it rode up the beach, and that these rocks eventually destroyed the front part of this ship. And that these cargo boxes are either historically left behind, or maybe there's something they've put in as props for the site to give it more atmosphere for people coming to visit. You can play in the water here as well. I just checked. I've also put a little buoy there, just little things to add to the storytelling. Again, sort of cargo boxes here that maybe got left behind. Everything to just resell the story. I'm just going to press play now and to give you an idea of what's going on. Yeah, so we've got bubbles coming up, fish swimming. We've got we have actually got fish swimming around. We've also got people swimming around, a mermaid, and just these little glows in the water, which I really love. I'm going to ignore this at the top. Those of you that are more eagle-eyed amongst you may also have noticed the piles of bones. Yeah, I just like the idea that mermaids eat people. Not all mermaids, but some. And maybe they just don't care where they leave the bodies, because maybe the people who come to visit think these are just more props. So that is the outside of the build. I'm sorry, I know I keep fidgeting and changing the angles around repeatedly. I maybe should take my hand off the mouse when I'm talking. I move my hands around a lot when I talk, and it shows. A lot of this landscaping took me quite a while because I forgot that you can change the abruptness of it, that you can soften the landscaping. So originally these looked like Toblerone sand dunes until I realised I could soften it, and I had to go back and smooth over it a little bit because maybe it would have been quite dramatic when it first happened, but this is supposed to be a historic site, and it's supposed to be historic enough that grass has grown in and plants have grown in where originally there wouldn't have been any, and that the water that's maybe collected from like rainwater has caused plants to grow. So the idea that those sand dunes are still that prominent just didn't really make sense. So I had to go back through and just try and smooth them down a little bit, make them look a little bit more natural. I did also try to build up sand around here where it might have gathered over time with the winds and erosion. Couldn't do as good a job as I wanted to, but there's a little of effect there, so I thought that was probably good enough. This pool of water also probably explains why this became considered unsafe for entry, and why they have eventually voted to close it to the public. I'm going to have to wake my sim up now. She's probably not going to be happy. Yeah, stop swimming. Just go here. Thank you. You'll have seen the stairs, and then see your hand clap just came up. So yeah, as you can see, they just ignore it. So that brings us downstairs. And the first thing we're going to focus on is the compass. So again, debug. I'm going to be honest, I use debug a lot for this. I also used move objects a lot for this. I'm going to let go of my mouse now. I used move objects a lot for this. I used debug a lot for this. I used live edit objects a lot for this. I used a lot of cheats. I used move objects. If you're looking for build cheats, literally just type into Google Sims 4 build cheats and just copy and paste. That's how I normally do it. I'm dyslexic, so me trying to explain to you how to type these words in will probably be useless. I know it sounds ridiculous. I should be able to tell you how to spell debug, but I just don't think I can trust myself. Like live edit objects, I can't remember if it has two E's or one. I'm not even sure if it's pronounced live edit objects. So it's just going to be easier for you to Google it than it is for me to try and explain it to you. But to the point, when I first found this compass, I picked up the mouse again, does it show? I had wanted to put it in the centre of the build. Unfortunately, by that point, I had in fact already built everything and it just didn't fit properly. It didn't match up as well as I wanted it to. I wanted each part of the build of this bar to be at one compass point, but they don't match up that way. And no matter how much I changed it, it just did not fit. And I wanted something dramatic at the bottom of the stairs, and this sort of fits the bill anyway, so it worked out for the best. But in case you're wondering why it doesn't point to each part of the build, that's why. So we can start over here with the bar. The bar took me longer than I thought it would. Not the platform that I created on it, but the bar itself. Trying to find something that really fit with the mermaid feel was difficult for me. I did think of using the globe, the drinks globe, but the options are limited, and it's not really a bar. It's more just a drinks cabinet. In the end, I chose this one because I thought it looked a little bit like carved stone. And I sort of felt that that fit the bill enough. And the stools I picked because they reminded me of jellyfish. And then we have this little guy here, the axolotl. I absolutely love axolotls. It breaks my heart that they're endangered. Ooh, I mean, it breaks my heart that they're endangered, but I mean, look at that face. It's so freaking cute. So I had to have an axolotl in the build. I just couldn't resist. So he's now the mermaid's official mascot for their bar. So for them, the axolotl is their official mascot. For everyone else, the official mascot is actually the bear, the pirate bear. I don't think I really have to explain why I picked these chairs. It's pretty obvious that they look like mermaids' tails, and that the tables themselves look like mermaid scales. So I suppose I don't really have to explain that. I have included messages in a bottle on here. I just thought it was kind of cute. I also kind of like the idea that the mermaids have found these over the years. I also quite like the idea that the mermaids have found these over the years and have actually put them on the tables themselves and just thought, that's pretty, I could use that. And I don't know why. It just makes me happy that they did something like that. Like, these messages could be like love letters to someone, or they could just be really poetic, or they could be absolutely nothing at all. And then I was just using them as decoration. These boys are also in debug. These lights, obviously, because they like bubbles, and these ones because they look like they've got fishing nets over the top of the bubbles, over the tops of the lights. So they've repurposed the fishing nets. Initially, I wanted this bar to be hidden by these rocks, but it didn't really work out that way. So now you can see the bar, and I've just changed the trim to volcanic rock to give it an organic look. These little guys here, these balloons, you'll have seen in Sulani during the fish festival. These are also in debug. And these pictures, you also usually get these pictures from the diving bell using the deep sea photography option. I quite liked the idea that the mermaids had taken these pictures themselves and then put them up on the wall to share with others. I found these ones in live edit objects. Oh, and all this coral stuff is also found in debug. I've also got the fish plaques. That may seem a little strange, but I just talked about mermaids eating sailors, so maybe they eat fish too. Maybe they found these and they've put them up as a tribute to the fish that have been lost. Also, just noticed that I do not have sand in there. Why do I have sand everywhere? Because this site's been around so long that the sand has just got in. Have you ever been to the beach and then tried to wash off sand, or thought you've got rid of the sand, and then you just, first-hand experience for me, months later, I'm still finding sand, and I have vacuumed every single day, and I'm still finding sand, and I don't know how it does it. So can you imagine, with nothing to stop the sand from getting in, just how bad this place would be? The moment's just given up, and they just don't care. It's sand. It's not going. It's sand in a sandy area. It's not going to do any damage. There's bathrooms I did want to put more effort into. In the end, I just went for sort of ornate, over the top bathrooms. I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking. I think I just decided that the mermaids would probably put a lot of effort into that. And I don't think mermaids have a bladder option. I can't remember. Actually, I've got a mermaid here, so I could actually check. Yeah, no, they do have bladder. So yeah, if a mermaid's going to go to the loo, she's going to use the most fancy option she's got. And maybe, again, this has been salvaged from a shipwreck, maybe a yacht or something, and they've decided to repurpose it for their own use. I think I also quite liked the sinks looked a little shell-like, and the swan being sort of quite elegant. I thought maybe that would sort of fit with the mermaid theme. And they're quite ornate mirrors. Over here we have more pictures. I am obsessed with these little guys. I just think they're so cute. That's not the only reason they're there. There is another reason which I will get to in a second. So over here you can see a life ring and pictures on the wall. I think in my mind, the mermaids have at some point helped themselves to this from a shipwreck or a harbour, and they've either found these paintings in a shipwreck and repurposed them and put them on the wall because they thought they were beautiful, or maybe the mermaids have painted them themselves and displayed them here for others to see, because some of them, maybe other mermaids haven't explored as much or haven't gone as far inland, and they're just trying to show them the world that exists outside of the ocean. Over here, I have an oversized reef. I can't remember why I did that, but I've done it and I'm keeping it. And we have the picture of Tortosa in here too. Obviously, linking back to Princess Claudelia. Anyway, one of those. And again, more pictures that they've maybe found and repurposed because they thought they were beautiful. All of this is debug. I just thought they looked so cute. I didn't want to leave them out, so I managed to find a way to incorporate them into it. And I didn't want there to be sort of boring corners. I didn't want there to be a sort of a main feature and other corners just seem dull. So I have sort of filled every gap I can with some of the most ridiculous stuff, but tried to make it from the perspective of a mermaid that's just decorating their bar. Also, I apologise for the audio. I am actually sick at the moment. So my voice is just really strained at the moment, so it may get more croaky as time goes on. But my husband bought me this headset so I could do recordings, because I expressed a want to do YouTube videos. And he bought me this headset specifically for it, and I haven't been able to use it yet. So I was just desperate to use it because I've been sick since I got it. So I was just desperate to use it, which is why I'm doing the video while I'm sick. So I do apologise if it sounds really croaky. These things here are actually a normal window. I think the window is from the cottage living pack, but I definitely know that these bits on the outside are from the Star Wars pack. They just looked too much like either like the suckers you get on the bottom of a squid's tentacles, or or those like old fashioned deep sea diver suits. And I loved them too much, and I had to use them, or like portholes. They just looked too good, and I had to use them. So I've actually placed them over top of the windows using move objects to create this effect on the wall. This little guy in my head, when they opened this place up and they had like a ribbon cutting ceremony and everything, this guy was like one of the decorations for their new mascot that they're going to, they sell these little mascots, and they use the money to keep this place funded and keep it going and keep it safe and clean. And he was part of the advertisement for this. And then when everyone had left, the mermaids turned up and they nicked it and brought it downstairs because they loved it so much. So he's not the official mascot of their bar. He is the official mascot of the site for the humans. The axolotl is the official mascot for the mermaids, but they just liked this guy so much they decided to bring him down and give him a new home. Over here we have a platform for playing instruments. We obviously have the guitar, the piano, microphone, which I think fits quite well for mermaids. I just realised that's backwards. Never mind. I don't think I'm the only one who remembers this, but correct me if I'm wrong. Does anyone else remember the Disney Little Mermaid series and that one episode that stuck in my head where King Triton wanted Ariel to play this old, like it looked kind of like a pipe organ. It wasn't. It was called like a collide or something. And she was terrible at it. She was so bad she woke a sea monster up and they had to put it back to sleep. And ever since then, in my head, mermaids and pipe organs have been linked. So that's why we've got pipe organ. Don't think I can fully explain why we've also got a piano and a guitar. The microphone sort of makes sense. I guess in my head, it's that mermaids just got really good at like luring people in. Maybe they just started making bands up or something. Maybe they, not everyone knows how to sing, so maybe some of them just learnt the piano and some of them learnt guitar, and they use those instead. They diversified over time. Again, did try to make these hidden by these rocks, didn't work. So now we've got the they've got the debug rocks around the edge and the volcanic rock trim. And again, more pictures that I think they've probably found over time and put up because they're beautiful. They show other worlds that the mermaids may never get to see, but they're still beautiful. And then we have this little guy that's like a banner that's like another version of their mascot. Statue that they probably found from a shipwreck and salvaged. Over here we have a fish display, which I've been to living villages and sort of living towns and things, and they do have sort of fake things around to sort of give you the impression of what it would have been like when it was that time period. So maybe this was originally a decoration created by the committee, like you've seen above, and the narrator just nicked it again just to decorate their bar because they thought it looked pretty. Over here we have some crates that were either, again, decorations or are from the original wreck and they've resalvaged them. To make this a bar, I actually had to have a TV and chairs somewhere in this area for it to count as a bar. So that's why we've got the TV stand that looks like it's been made out of a repurposed suitcase, and we've got these chairs that look kind of shell-like, and this little cute settee here, and the ripple effect rug. And then again, more things that maybe were originally down here to give the impression of what it was like for the sailors living down here while they were waiting rescue. And they got left behind. The mermaids have just repurposed them. And then these little plushies that they found, because I think they're adorable. And that brings us to the main thing about this bar. This took me hours. It was a real labour of love. And once I'd started, I couldn't really not do it. So originally this wasn't going to exist, but my husband suggested it. And then once I started putting it together, I actually really liked the idea of it. And I just became obsessed with it. So in my head, this particular pool is, just realised it's the wrong tile again. Let's fix that. In my head, this particular pool is funded via a natural spring. That natural spring then leads into this pool here, and then that pool flows out into this little river that runs through the bar like a mini oasis to the dance floor, and that the mermaids have repurposed glass from the original ship, placed it over the top of the rock pool and created a dance floor, so you can still see the water underneath, and they have a dance floor on the top. And then again, another road stage, again with rocks and the volcanic rock, as I've explained previously. And that is it. That is the build. That took me so long to make. And I made this ages ago. I spent absolutely hours on it. It is on the gallery. I don't think anyone's ever downloaded it because I don't think anyone really is that interested in mermaids in The Sims 4, and it does make me really sad. I really do like mermaids, but I do accept the fact that of all the cryptids in The Sims 4, they are the most lackluster. They don't have their own aspiration like the vampires do, or a world that's specifically built around them like the vampires or the spellcasters or the werewolves. They don't have a progression system. They have some cool powers, but so do the vampires, even at the most basic level. Aliens have their own secret world and their own fruit. And everyone else just seems to have so much more going on for them than the mermaids. And now ghosts have got their own progression system with the life and death pack. And mermaids just feel like they're being left behind. I still like them. I still remember playing The Sims 3, and I loved it when you used to go under the water and you would interact with mermaids under the water while your sim was diving and seeing the underwater world. And it does make me sad that you don't get that with these worlds. That now if I click on it, literally the photographs are all I'm going to get to see of it. So I guess I do understand that mermaids are not the most popular, but it doesn't change the fact how much I love them. And that's why I decided to create them something for themselves. I obviously can't stop other occult types from getting in, but it's a headcanon at the end of the day. To me, this is just where they go. Sorry, I'm wearing a blanket and I cannot make my mouth stay still. Oh, goodness sake. Yeah, to me, it's a headcanon that they've got their own bar, because the werewolves have got their own bar, the spellcasters have got their own bar and their own world. Again, every occult type seems to have something so much more than the mermaids, and I can't create an aspiration for mermaids, and I can't create a world specifically for them. Even Sulani arguably isn't built around mermaids. Mermaids are sort of, I would argue, kind of an afterthought. And that isn't to take anything away from Sulani. I love the little events. I love the little things that will happen here that are just so natural that everyone just knows about them and they just happen. I just don't think that I feel like mermaids were an afterthought. I feel like the werewolf pack was the werewolf world was built around those werewolves, and arguably, although the vampire world is small, it was still built around them. It was still built with them in mind. And at least vampires and werewolves have a rivalry and they have their inspirations. Mermaids don't really have much of anything, so at least now they've got a bar. The next build I am trying to make is probably going to be redoing the spellcaster build to fit more with my style of storytelling. So if you're interested, feel free to come back and watch that video. This is a new channel, and this is just a hobby, so unfortunately I don't know when I'll have it up, but hopefully it won't take too long, and I'm hoping to actually record footage of myself building that one. I may upload a video of the vampire bar that I made. I haven't fully decided what to do with that yet, mostly because I don't know how good it is now. I made it before the Life and Death pack was released, and I'm thinking of going back and redoing it. So I might upload a video of the one I had previously and then upload another video of the one I'm making now. It kind of depends on how that build turns out, whether I think it's better than the original, as to whether I will show you the differences or not, whether I'll upload 2 videos or not on that. Other than that, the only other thing I'm really working on at the moment is an inherited house for your Sims. So the idea being that your Sim has inherited a home from a distant relative that's fallen into disrepair. It was originally just going to be a shell with a few bits of furniture in and things like that and faded wallpaper and things. But I kind of drove myself down my own rabbit hole with the storytelling on that one and went ahead and created a whole family. And things escalated quite quickly with my Sims now having 4 horses and their daughter being married to Travis Scott. So that went further than it was meant to. There's also now a whole storyline around the parents, potentially the daughter as well. So that became a whole thing. So if you want to stick around for that video, I will hopefully have that one up soon because I've almost finished that one. It's taken me days to get this far because of the amount of photographs I've been taking. So if you want to see that, then feel free to come back for that video. Again, I can't say how quickly it'll be up, but hopefully it won't be too long. If you did enjoy a video, that's fair enough. I completely understand. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. So whether you come back for the next one, whether you enjoyed this one or not, I really do hope you have a lovely day and really do hope you take care of yourself. And I really, really hope that you have a really enjoyable 2025, because if it was yours 2024 was anything like mine, you really deserve a better 2025. So take care, my dragons, and if you come back to the next one, I'll see you then. Goodbye.